Hello and welcome to the Gaia update for spring-summer 2016, what I'm calling retrograde season. We have Mars, Mercury, and Saturn, all three of our main action planets in retrograde right now, and particularly together for the month of May. We're really feeling this. So what does this mean? It's really a hard time to figure out how to move forward. This is also brought forward by the mutable cross. We've got these planets in mutable signs making a T-square in the sky this month of May. So we've got these planets in retrograde and this mutable square, and all of this is saying, how do we move forward? The way forward is kind of through the muck right now. On the 22nd of May, Mars, who's in retrograde until the end of June, will go back into Scorpio and spend another few weeks in quite a long time in Scorpio. Now, Scorpio is our shadow, our inner self, the depths of our being, the deep subconscious self. And so we are indeed being asked to go back through these areas, and it's bringing us back to the last few years where we had Saturn and Scorpio. So what wasn't resolved in those last few years of the shadow and your core issues are going to be coming up big time. They're going to be coming up so clear, like the big elephant in the room, the big pile of dust under the rug, the mountain of stuff that has not been dealt with is going to be appearing in our lives, because the only way we can go forward into the dream that we want to create on this planet right now is to release the pain of the past. And so we're going through a powerful time of activation and reprogramming that started at the eclipse cycle earlier this spring. And so now we're getting into the nitty-gritty of what needs to move for us to really be able to move forward. And we're not going to be feeling forward motion, really. It's kind of like, it's not that we're not moving at all, we're just kind of like plodding along, it's just kind of making your way right now, not worrying too much about exactly where you're going or how you're going to get there. You just want to keep your vision of what you want your life to be and let it happen and let it unfold. Let the experiences come forward, even though we tend to brace ourselves and say, oh no, here we go into this pattern again. But the reason this pattern is coming up is so you can clear it for good this time. Mars retrograde in Scorpio is saying the only way forward is back through the muck in a methodical way. Now, what's going on with Mercury? We've got Mercury retrograde in Taurus and the Sun in Taurus. So Mercury and Taurus around the first week and second week of May come very close and dance around each other. And so this is really powerful because Mercury's our messenger, another action planet. And so Mercury is retrograde in Taurus. There's 3 Mercury retrogrades this year, and they're all in Earth signs. So Mercury, our messenger, is getting information about Taurus, which is the sign of connecting to the earth, to abundance, to sensual experience of this world, of feeling nurtured and cared for in a connection to Mother Earth. And so Mercury is telling us that the way we get through the muck and into the future has to do with understanding about the goddess, has to do with allowing the rebirth of the divine feminine in our lives. All of us have access to this divine feminine as we learn to understand that this world that's been created around us doesn't necessarily reflect the truth of who we are as spiritual beings. And it's time for us to start nurturing that goddess within, nurturing the sensitive self, allowing ourselves to receive from this world. And so Mercury has some really powerful messages there in Taurus, meeting up with the Sun in the season of Taurus, of the season of the spring in the northern hemisphere, celebrating our connection to Mother Earth. And so all of these things are telling us what we need to do in order to clean up our act to be able to move forward. And then we've got this mutable cross going on. And the mutable cross is between Jupiter in Virgo. We've got Saturn in Sagittarius, and then Neptune in Pisces. So these planets have been dancing around each other making squares, but this is the first time they're really coming together into a T-square this year. And so the mutable planets signs happen around the seasons change. And so the mutable signs are very adaptable and changeable, and that's what we need to be right now. So the way forward is back through the muck. It's reintegrating our ability to receive the goddess and the support from the universe, the divine feminine, into our lives, and it's about reevaluating our steps every step of the way. And it's like literally what's happening right now from the activations from earlier this spring is that every day is a new day. Every day it's almost like you're a whole new person, and you have to figure out who that is. That speaks to our identity crisis that is like going on with Uranus in Aries. And so this whole era of time that we live in that Pluto-Uranus square that we're really feeling coming out of that energy right now this spring, that's the breakdown and the rehash of our structures in order to be able to create this new world that's more in alignment with the truth of who we are. So this new world we want to create, and our individual lives that we want to adjust into being more truthful to who we are, has to do with an integration, a healing, and a deep reconciliation between the masculine and the feminine in our being and on the planet, balancing out these energies. Last summer was completely flavored by the Venus retrograde, and this year we've got the Mars retrograde. And so the Mars is our action male planet, and when it's in retrograde, it's just kind of like, it feels a little impotent, feels a little bit like it can't quite act on how I feel. I can't figure out exactly what the way forward is, and that's exactly where we need to be right now, because we're constantly reevaluating our reality, because we're constantly changing. We're going through so much upgrades and downloads right now, and spiritual psychic changes. And so it's just like what was right for us yesterday might not be right for us today. And how do we allow the structures of our lives, the houses we live in, this reality of 3D to adjust to us and the growth that we're doing on this level? So this Mars retrograde is actually a time to step back, reset, and get alignment with your most appropriate timeline, so that when you do go forward, you're on the path that's really, really in alignment. So even though it could feel a little confusing and lost, and reevaluating the steps and reintegrating every single day what is your new truth, just imagine at the end of the summer when all of this starts to resolve and you do have your way forward, and it's completely different than the way you could imagine right now, because you're in the middle of figuring that out. And so the figuring of it out means being incredibly flexible, being willing to let the old stories come up and present themselves to be completely healed, and to reset on a cellular level to this receiving the goddess into our life, to letting the divine masculine come in, that reintegration of the male to support the goddess again in this existence, to be a container for the love and the care and the way we really want to represent humanity on this planet right now. That is this Mercury getting that information retrograde in Taurus. Why is it we can't allow ourselves to be nurtured when we are the source of everything? Why do we feel like we have to beg for what we need in this world? There's a huge shift going on of revaluing what's really valuable. And we've been taught that building up money and houses and cars and achievements is what really makes worth in this world. And everything in that structure of reality, that Pluto in Capricorn is breaking down, and we're finding the true value is the gifts that we have inside of ourselves, the love and connection we have with each other, the validation of this as a spiritual experience, rather than just this flat-lined energy. Now, a lot of people are walking through their lives feeling lost, depressed, unable to express the truth of who they are. And it can cause a deep depression and deep pain. And so all of this is happening right now is these deep changes of the structures, our physical bodies, the structures of our lives, to support us to express the truth of who we are, for our community and the love connection with each other, to help support each other, really bring forward a true healthy community that feels safe in being who they really are. And so our world is changing so fast, and this is so much to keep up with, but this is the key to it right now, is just a constant readjustment. And today I'm different, and this afternoon I feel different than this morning, and so it's a time to completely reevaluate. Now, there's a harmony here with Jupiter. It's in that T-square, but it's also trining Pluto and Capricorn this in May. And so basically it's bringing some harmony to this. It's saying Jupiter is our forward motion, our expansion, because because it's there. The North Node is also in Jupiter. And so we're looking towards the future, and Jupiter wants to expand our knowledge and our understanding and the framework of what's true for us. So trining up with Pluto, with a breaking down of our structures, is being like, it's okay to let go of what's no longer serving. We are being called for a complete surrender to each new day. That means each new day in each relationship, each new day in each job, each new day in each experience. What was working for us wasn't. If we let ourselves, allow ourselves to move into our life towards what really feels good to us, and spending our time really doing what really fuels us, and that expression, that creativity, it's a huge shift for our whole being and our whole society. And it's kind of like, we're plodding through the mud right now. We're going back to figure out who we really are and what's really going on. But the freedom and expansion that we can feel, it'll be worth it. This is the message. The harmony coming from that aspect is saying all this confusion of the way forward, of the structures, of what's real and what's reality, what's lies, what's illusion, and all that is like having this huge breakdown. But that's in order we can get to that life of full expression. So Mercury goes direct on the 22nd of May. That is right when Mars also goes into Scorpio. And so we're going to really be moving into that shadow. We're going to have the forward motion of Mercury, but at the same time Mars, our main male impotent energy, going within, doing the action within. That's going to have to do with that shadow. So it's going to be an interesting time there at the end of May as we begin to feel some forward motion with Mercury going direct, but then it's almost bringing up more of the muck energy, more of that shadow. So just expect that the deepest depths of your core issues are going to present themselves, but in a way that you can reevaluate, reassess, and move forward in a whole different way. So at the end of June, Mars goes direct, and Mercury will have come out of its shadow. Now, that means the shadow period of where it was before it started the retrograde, getting back to that place. Now, Mars gets back out of the shadow, back into Sagittarius, and out of the shadow of this retrograde in the middle to late August. That's also when Saturn turns direct. So then our 3 action planets will be direct. So we're really going to see a full kind of energy towards forward motion there at the last couple weeks of August and into this fall. So this whole year has been a preparation, a rehash, saying, wait, this rubber band on Mars retrograde saying, wait, you don't know how to move forward. You don't know what the truth of you is, and you're never going to be satisfied on that path until you clean up this muck and you get real with yourself and get real with what really matters and start to make those changes in your life. Stand up for yourself. Let yourself be nurtured by this world. Get out of victim and the struggle of it and let the universe support you. That's that Mercury retrograde in Taurus. And so how can we let the universe support us? What changes do we need to make in our lives and our structures in order for that to happen, to move into this future in the fall of 2016 as we really start creating this new world that we all want to see here on planet Earth. So thank you for doing your part and being here, and I really look forward to seeing what comes forward this fall as the fruits of all of this very strange, mysterious reevaluating of our reality on a moment-to-moment basis. So enjoy the journey. I'd love to hear from you, and until next time, namaste. I'm Adrienne Elise.